So, you know that part in The Truman Show where he finally realizes, it dawns on him that his entire life has been staged. There's something very similar going on in Irish political life. Hi guys, welcome back to the Politics Podcast. Thank you for joining me. And yes, I am talking about The Truman Show. And you're wondering, what the heck has The Truman Show, a movie, got to do with Irish political life? Well, I tell you what. Do you know the part where the director, who's sitting in the moon in a big glass ball looking down at Truman through his entire life, and he talks through an earpiece to all the different actors in Truman's life, except Truman. Truman is the only guy without an earpiece. Well, that is happening in Ireland. And the taxpayer is Truman. And the reason I'm saying this is because I was flicking through X the other day and I came across an article stating that our media commission, Comisiún Nimán, has given 90,000 euro to Terry Prone. And Terry Prone runs the Communication Clinic. And that is a place, it's not a doctor's, it's a doctor's for our politicians who cannot answer questions and who cannot think for themselves. But anyway, she runs this clinic. And Terry Prone has been on the scene for over 40 years at this stage now. She has been a media trainer and to all of the politicians, most of the leaders. I don't know, we'll never get to the bottom of how many she has trained. Even Charlie Haughey. She trained Charlie Haughey in what to say to the media and how to act in front of a television camera. And basically how to get out of answering questions, not to answer questions correctly, but I would say how to get out of corners, sticky corners that they may find themselves in, which they often do many times, even many times every week. But anyway, I was quite taken aback when I saw this, that she was given 90,000 euro to train our media commission. And I have the mission statement from the Media Commission, by the way. They say they are Ireland's agency for developing and regulating a thriving, diverse, creative, safe and trusted media landscape. It's quite a mouthful there. Basically, they're just watching who says what online. So they are Ireland's agency for developing and regulating a thriving, diverse, creative, safe and trusted media landscape. So there you go. That's their job. But basically, whittle that down to one little line. They are there to regulate our speech, your children's speech, the children of the future. This media commission. Now, the government set up this media commission, which is fairly new. I think it was the Green Party, Catherine Martin, who was head of it and whose idea it is. And we know where the Green Party went in the last election. But anyway, they set this up as a way of monitoring speech, especially online speech. And they were supposedly handpicked people running this thing who have an expertise in this area, in media, communications and the like. So why the heck would these experts have to go and pay 90,000 of Irish taxpayers' money to Terry Prone to tell them what to say? So Terry Prone tells the Media Commission what to say and do. And I think that's absolutely outrageous. It's one thing that she would school politicians who can't speak or think for themselves any longer after they're elected. They're well able to say the spiel at the door to get the votes. But afterwards, they seem to have a little bit of an issue of not being able to know what to say, especially on TV. And on radio. They need Terry to hold their hands. And I'm not saying that Terry is the only one who does this line of work in Ireland, but she is one of the most prominent people that you see. They wheel her out on television program after television program and radio program and the newspapers, and we get Terry's take on the latest scandal. The latest political scandal. And meanwhile, Terry gives her take. She gets off the camera and she goes and texts and rings the people that she was just talking about on camera because she's also schooling them. And it's a massive conflict of interest. And the Media Commission, to think that they cannot, why can't they answer for themselves? Why would they need Terry Prone to tell them what to say? They're all for safe and trusted and truth. and they throw out malinformation and this and that, well, then they should be able to answer questions without getting trained, without Terry Prohn's input. She seems to have an input into all the media appearances by our politicians, and now it's developed into our government agencies, especially the Media Commission, who's there to monitor free speech. And one would wonder what became of those meetings or what was said at those meetings. I mean, Terry Prohn was involved in Minister Francis Fitzgerald's time. Minister Francis Fitzgerald, who there was a scandal with poor Sergeant Maurice McCabe and the Gardaí and Commissioner Noreen O'Sullivan and the this and that going on about who knew what. And the Department of Justice, when asked, had they any involvement with this media PR company, Terry Prohn's PR company, the Department of Justice said no, they'd never heard of it. And then it came out under a Freedom of Information request that there were 68 emails from Minister Francis Fitzgerald, the Minister for Justice, to and fro to Terry Prohn's company. So that's where we are. I think it's absolutely outrageous, and it is a conflict of interest. And actually, it is very unprofessional of the Media Commission to go and get media training, as in what to say. So that is what I wanted to bring you guys. I mean, Ivan Yates also, who is a colleague or a former colleague of, or a minister, a Fine Gael minister, he had to resign from the Path to Power podcast with Matt Cooper because of the presidential election there. And it was found out that he was giving media training to the Fianna Fáil candidate. That's an ex-Fine Gael minister giving media training to the Fianna Fáil candidate, and he didn't disclose it, and it was a conflict of interest. And he had to leave his podcast that he did with Matt Cooper because of this conflict of interest. So it's one big giant club, guys, and the Irish taxpayer is paying for the pleasure. The Irish taxpayer is paying for the pleasure. And the reason I bought the Truman Show into it is because the Irish taxpayer is Truman. And all these people around him are have an earpiece in their ears, and they are being directed as to what to say, how to get out of sticky situations, how to let the latest scandal blow over them. And now our government agencies are in the mix. Our government agencies, we know the Gardaí also, back in that time I was talking about the Maurice McCabe case, and with the Minister for Justice and Noreen O'Sullivan, the Commissioner, the Gardaí also at that time had to get media training from, of course, Terry Prohn, and I think it cost 90,000 as well at that time too. So this has been ongoing. The politicians and the political elite, and now the agencies, they are very good at spin. And Terry Prohn is their spin master. And they spin a yarn, and the yarn now is 40 or 50 years long. So I don't know what's going to happen, guys, but it's a continuous spin. And the Irish taxpayer is in the middle, paying for all this nonsense. I always say, yes, they need a little bit of media, the politicians now I'm talking about, need a little bit of media training as they become elected, how to talk to a camera, how to speak in front of a camera, how to speak slowly perhaps, or speak on radio. But that's it, and how to debate. That's where it should end. This continuous, when she's probably called in, when there's scandal blows, or when they want to answer to some, I don't know, some millions gone walkabout, Terry Prohn would be wheeled in, and then she's wheeled in after giving her advice and her training to the politicians. Then she's wheeled out at night to the nation to give her take on what she thinks is happening. But meanwhile, she has just trained the people that she's talking about. So as I say, to me, massive conflict of interest. But now our government agencies who are there, the Media Commission especially, there to monitor speech and there to say what's safe and what's truthful in their minds. In their minds. Who's to say? What gives them the right to say what's safe or truthful? The people at home listening. That's the whole beauty of free speech. You have a right to hear what's being said and to make up your own mind, as they have done for centuries in the world. But now we have this Media Commission who can't think for themselves, who have run to Terry Prone to ask how to talk, how to answer questions, and they're supposedly experts in their field. And this is not just government. This is not just Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil either. We remember Sinn Féin during the hate speech legislation. They wanted to make illegal migrants a protected class within the hate speech legislation. And can you imagine the ramifications of that? For 1 second, think about that now. They wanted basically to shut up the people that if you have any issue or you say anything about illegal immigrants, then you would be in big trouble because they would be a protected class, and that's a Sinn Féin motion. That's a Sinn Féin idea. So they also are not fond of free speech. And they also would get media training of how to get out of sticky situations and spin. And I don't know, do they use Terry Prone or which company they use? But I think it's outrageous. I think politicians, when they get elected, they need to stand on their own 2 feet and answer for anything that goes wrong after that. So that's what I wanted to bring you today, guys. As always, I saw that story as I was scrolling through X, and I advise you all to set up an account. It's simple, it's easy, you can follow me, and you will be wide awake within 1 hour after joining X, because as I always say, it's news by the people, for the people. But as always, if you're not ready to do that, I will be here to bring you all the latest news. I will be on soon again, and I thank you for joining me. Share the information in this video, or share the video to your family and friends. Like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys on the next one.